What's up, everybody? This is Post-Production Pie with srlounge.com. Now, in the last video, which we're going to pull up here on YouTube, we did a little lens comparison between the Canon 24-70 f2.8L Mark I version versus the Mark II version of the exact same lens. We kind of showed the differences in color toning, sharpness, and so forth with this portrait. We had quite a few comments, and we thought it was worth addressing these comments and questions in a follow-up video, kind of tell you guys what's going on, and it's actually kind of funny. We'll go through these questions down here. Number one, this is from Robbie Jai. He says, "This video is misleading. As a professional photographer myself who uses Lightroom a lot, the image on the left has been processed. Look at 147, then 149 on the left. There's a small lag." I don't know what that lag is that you're talking about. It probably was just rendering the 1:1 previews, but no, these images have not been doctored in any way. I don't know why we would do that, guys. It's not like we work for Canon. We don't get paid to tell you guys to go buy a Mark II lens. And even I told you guys in the actual article itself that you'll have to make the decision on your own whether you think the difference is big enough to not have IS and to be paying $1,000 more. I responded to you a little bit below. My friend Robbie Jai, I love you, brother, but your comment is a bit misleading. I'm going to show you guys the proof right now. So let's jump back into the catalog and let's take a look at this. So here we have the processed version of the image. This is not the image that you guys saw. This is the one that I just basically did the raw processing. Here is the raw image right next to it in that virtual copy. So let me pull up the film strip so you guys can see. And yes, we're in Lightroom. I didn't even go full screen. I don't want you guys to think I'm pulling the shade over your eyes, all right? Let's go full screen now. And you can see in the EXIF data, this was shot in the 24-70 Mark II f2.8L lens. One of the other questions was, what camera we used to shoot this? It was on the 5D Mark III. All right, exact same setup as far as lighting and everything. Everything stayed the same. All we did was between these shots, we just switched off the lens. Here's the second image right here. This is the 24-70. You can see up here, it is the Mark I version of this lens. Now, let's prove to you that nothing has changed, all right? That these are raw. Don't freak out, guys. We're not the man, all right? Don't hate the man. Well, you can hate the man. Just don't hate us, all right? So watch. I'm going to hit reset. Nothing is changing because this image was fully raw to begin with. Let's go to this next one. Nothing is changing because this image was raw to begin with. All right, so that is proven. Now let's select both. Look, there's no sleight of hand here. I'm going to select this first image, then I'm going to hold Shift, select the second one. We're going to hit C to go into the compare view. And there we go. I'm going to hit Tab just to remove these two sidebars. And look, you can tell there's a difference between these lenses. Here we have the Mark II version on the left, the Mark I version on the right. And if I zoom in, the only pause and the only loading you're going to get is whatever it has to do to basically render the 1:1 previews. I don't know why it slows down sometimes. I don't know the internals of Lightroom and what it's doing at any particular moment. But you can see that there are differences. Now, one of the other persons that commented, let's go down to his question. It was that, let's see. This is from SJS2657. He says, "I don't understand how skin tones can be different if these weren't retouched." Well, color tones are actually heavily dependent on the type of glass in front of your lens, okay? So depending on how that light or how that lens captures light, it's gonna actually alter or change color. So one of the reasons that you're gonna get different colors on an image is the lens, and the other reason is the camera and the sensor, all right? Different sensors also perceive light and colors a little bit differently. For example, if we shot this on a Phase 1 camera with the exact same lens and on a 5D Mark III with the exact same lens, we're still going to get slightly different color tones because of the way that they interpret the data. Same thing with the lenses, guys. You're placing glass in front of your lens, and if I place a colored piece of glass in front of the lens, it's going to change the color. Now, this obviously is not a colored piece of glass, but the elements are different, and so they are going to react to light differently. It's going to change a little bit of the light toning, a little bit of the contrast, sharpness, and so forth from that lens. Okay, so hopefully that answers your question there. Now let's zoom in and we'll take a look close up. Again, you can see the difference in sharpness right where her mouth is. It looks like we nailed the focus on kind of more in the middle on this. Well, it's kind of more towards the left side. On the right side, it's more on the right. So that's why we use that in the comparison. We used her right eye versus her left eye. But look at the mouth. I mean, the mouth is kind of that right in between point. You can see the difference in basically how the Mark II version resolves detail. All right, let's go to the second version of this image. I'm going to prove it to you. I hope you guys like this. Let's deselect these by hitting Control D. Here's our second image with Ryan. This is, I believe, the process version. So here's the process version. Once again, this was done after the video. Here's the raw version of that exact same image. And here is the other raw version of the same image on the Mark I lens. Let's take a look at this. Here's the Mark II. You can see it right there in the EXIF data. And then here is the Mark I. We're going to go to the develop module by hitting D, and I'm going to hit reset again so you guys can see nothing has been done to this image. All right, I'm clicking. Do you guys hear the clicking? See it? See it? It's pushing the button down. Nothing's happening. Okay, let's select both these images. Look, no sleight of hand. We're going to hit C. We're into our comparison view. This time, because of the way that I selected them in that order, we have on the left side the Mark I version, and on the right side we have the Mark II version. Okay, once again, you can see a difference in color. The only thing I did on the Mark II version was cropped it in, so the crop was a little bit more similar because the crop was just a bit off on the Mark II version. So that's the only difference that you would have saw, is just that it was slightly cropped. But you can still see the color tone difference. We have a little bit better saturation on this right side, a little bit more kind of just better skin tones overall, better contrast. And when we zoom in, you can see, oh look, it's loading, not because I have settings, but because it's loading the one-to-one preview. And when that's done, the Mark II version finished first. I don't know why, guys. It's not because we're doctoring it. All right, and you can see the difference in detail here too. Okay, so that's all we did with that one, is we cropped in a slight bit, and I'll show you exactly how much we cropped. We just went and selected this image. I'm gonna go back into just the develop module, and I just pulled it up so that basically we'd have the exact same crop on each one of these. That was it. Okay, so hopefully Robbie Jai and the 5 people that agreed with you, you guys know now that we're not doctoring things. Next thing, I wanted to respond also to, where was it? It was Thomas. Where's Thomas's comment? Oh, it might be below, show more. There it is. Okay. So I think you shouldn't take portraits of people to test sharpness on the lens. He's not, this is a genuine question. Thomas is not trying to troll or anything like that, but it's a good question. The reason why we do this is we actually do several tests. At SR Lounge, we don't do anything technical. Like I know there's, we can set up a sharpness test where we actually have sharpness boards where you're essentially testing sharpness for different lenses, but they're not practical real life examples. So what we do is instead we take this lens, we put it in actual real life situations. One of those is shooting portraits. Matt is actually taking the same lens out. He's going to do some landscape shots with it, and we're going to see the difference when it comes to landscapes as well. The reason why we do this is because those other tests, while they're technical and they're cool and they show, okay, what are the exact differences as far as like down to the pixel peeping details of the image, it doesn't give you a good real world idea of the difference in performance. For example, just because a lens might resolve detail 10% or 15% better, it sounds like a big number, and it sounds like those numbers and those technical details make a big difference until you see them in real life, and then you're like, oh my gosh, there's not really that big of a difference here. And that's why we do only a real life comparison. We do only practical reviews, practical everything at SR Lounge, because we want to know real life differences. We don't want to know the technical mumbo jumbo. There's enough websites that actually do that kind of stuff. But be sure to look forward to Matt's post in the future. He's going to have a post comparing these two lenses from a landscape point of view, so you guys can see kind of like edge-to-edge sharpness and detail between the Mark I and the Mark II lens. All right, hopefully this helped answer your all questions, and we'll see you guys in the next video.